and welcome to my channel, and welcome to the very last VEDA Sunday question and answers. It has been such a pleasure answering your questions for the last 4 weeks, and I greatly appreciate it. So let's get to those questions for this week. This week's questions, I actually had 3 people submit questions, and one of the questions I want to do a completely separate video for, so I'm only going to answer 2 people's questions. And the first is from Dimple the Page, and that is, what are some things in books that would cause you to give it a low rating? So very simply, if I am not connecting with the book, or if I see a lot of plot holes within a story, say that it jumps around too much, or that it just does not feel cohesive or realistic in some manner, or if the story is supposed to be set in a realistic time frame, say it's supposed to be set around September 11th, if some of the facts of that event aren't specific or aren't accurate, it kind of throws me off. Or if there is a time jump, say that some things are supposed to be happening at a certain point in time, say it's supposed to be in the 80s, but you're giving facts and information from the 90s or the 2000s, yeah, that sort of throws me off. So pretty much it's those whole plot holes, and then there is the grammar. If a story has not been grammatically reviewed, or for punctuation or word use, and it's not an ARC or an advanced copy that I'm reading, because those are all in their own. They're proofs, so they have a lot more leniency when it comes to having grammatical errors and things like that with my rating. If it's an ARC, I don't take off for those grammatical errors or the word usage or anything like that. I will, however, email or private message the author and let them know, hey, did you see on page or between this chapter, or did you notice this about, in the review? However, if it is an actual published book that I purchased, that I have spent money on, that is out to the public already, it's not an advanced copy, I'm going to nail you to the wall if there are grammatical errors that throw me out of the story. Now, if there's 1 or 2 onesies and twosies here and there that don't throw me out of the story, that I don't blatantly see, I'm not knocking you off for it. But that is a big pet peeve of mine. And lastly, the things that I give low ratings for is the N-word is used without any meaning behind it. That drives me up a wall. I absolutely deplore that word, and I don't understand why it's used in everyday lingo. That's a video all on its own. But if the N-word is used in a book, it better have the correct content or correct context to go along with it. Otherwise, I am putting it down. I want to say that the one book that I gave a DNF to, and I gave it a 1 star, was because 10 pages in, it was every other word was the N-word, and I was like, oh hell no, not doing it. Not doing it. Not doing it. So, hopefully that answers your question. Next is, are there things in a book that would give it an automatic 5-star rating? So, if I connect with a book, like on an emotional level, on a realistic level, like this person could be my friend, or I could walk in their shoes, pretty much that story's gonna get you a 5-star rating. If I connect with your book, I'm not stingy with my 5 stars. Not at all. Now, if I find some plot holes, or if it takes me a little while to get connected to that story, then, it's gonna vary between that 4.5 and 5. And then if it is a new to me author, I guess I could say I'm more stringent on those as well if it's a new to me author, because the authors that I have read repeated books from, they do tend to rank a little higher on that rating scale just because I know their work, I know their writing style, and I'm comfortable. So, for example, there was a book that it took me a long time. It was actually a duet. It took me a long time to get into the first book of the duet. I thought it was too wordy, and I thought it started to annoy me, but I pushed through it, and by the end of that book, I was like, woo! I love it! I love it, I love it, I love it! And then I got the second book for the duet and was like, yes, hands down, woo! Love it, great, yep, loved it. All because I knew the author, I had read other books, multiple books from the author, and knew that they could produce a well-rounded story. This one just happened to take a little bit longer to get there. Next question is, do I have any aspirations to write or become an author? No, not at all. I have been struggling to maintain this blog that's going on, so that's a big old fail on that whole 30 days of blogging, by the way. But I have no aspirations to write. I don't want to possibly plagiarize anyone or any author that I have already read. I don't want to poach anyone's ideas. I think I use reading as an escape more than, you know, wanting to put my imagination out there. So yeah, no aspirations to write or become an author. I'm gonna stick in my lane and just stay as a reader and sort of critiquer of all things written. Yeah, maybe that's wrong, but that's what I'm gonna do. The next question comes from Veronica, and her question is lovely. What is my biggest hangover this year, or book hangover this year? And for those that don't know what a book hangover is a book that just totally left you speechless and you can't seem to get into anything else. Well, it's not necessarily a book hangover per se, because I've read, I can't say that word for the life of me today. I have read quite a few books since I read this book, but this book is more of an author hangover, and that is Red Lights, Black Hearts by Fabiola Francisco. I read this book, and like I said, I wouldn't call it a book hangover. I call it an author hangover, because this is the second book of hers that I've read, and she emotionally just drained me with this book. This one right here. And I haven't been able to pick up another book from her. And I'm so upset with myself that I am in this hangover of a state for an author, but because I really, really want to read her other books. But this one just ripped my heart out and just did something to me. I was like, yeah. I did a video review for it, so I'll link that down below. But this book right here, whoo, tore me apart. Has torn me apart. And poor Fabiola wants me to read more of her books, but I'm having a real hard time because I guess I just emotionally connect with her characters, and I sort of know the follow-up book or book spin-off that goes with this one, and the subject matter, I have a feeling I'm gonna be wrecked with that one as well. So yeah, it's more of a author hangover than it is a book hangover for this year so far. As I said, I received 3 people's questions, but that third person's question I'm going to do an entire video on, and hopefully you'll check that out. It happens to do with how I do my setup on a low cost, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get that recorded and out to you guys soon. Please take a look at it when you do. Any of the books or anything like that that I made mention to, I will link them down in the description box. Also, I will link my bookshelf and a room tour down in the description box as well, so you guys can take a look at that, just so you can get a sort of picture of how this new video is going to come about as well. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe. Also, there is a feedback form down in the description box so you guys can help me improve my channel. I started a Goodreads group and a blog. All that information's down in the description box as well. Thank you for watching. Thank you for submitting your questions for the last 4 Sundays. Yeah, I don't think I'll be carrying on this question and answer Sunday. I might do it, you know, maybe once a month or something like that. But I thank you guys for participating with me, and thank you for watching, and we will see you guys tomorrow.